Roll up your sleeves, pour yourself another drink, because this is Off the Cuff. I'm Dan.
And I'm Kyle. Welcome to another Off the Cuff segment, everybody. We're back in action. One day late, we know, but
we back.
But we apologize, guys, because we got a banger for you right now. We just checked out, I would say, the summer set-off. That's what I'm going to call this film.
The summer starter, the summer set-off.
Yeah, you know, it's May. It's a late May. We haven't had a blockbuster yet, but we haven't had a good summer flick yet either.
It's true.
And I think what better way to start off the summer than, of course, the 2017 adaptation of Baywatch.
Featuring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Zac Efron.
Yeah. So this is this, I will say frankly, is a film I will forget about in approximately a week. I will never ever remember this movie ever again, and I will probably never watch it again. That being said,
I think there's like a couple scenes where Zac Efron looks like a total badass, and I'll remember that in association with him. But yes, other than that, I'm with you. I'll forget about this movie.
Hear me out, though. The thing about Zac Efron is he, quite generally, and I'm going to speak honestly, almost always looks like a badass.
This is very true.
That I will probably forget these badass scenes with other badass scenes.
Right.
So should we get into the movie?
Actually, one thing I'm going to remember is that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a weird run. He like hobbles.
It's almost like a skedaddle.
Yeah, it's a skedaddle. That's what it is.
It's a little hunched, but it's still accurate. Like he can still run properly, but it's a little awkward.
It's like for the first 3 years of his working out career, he like skipped leg day, but then like the last 3, he was like, fine, I guess I got to catch up.
And you know that he probably thought the camera was close up on him while he was running, but it was a wide shot.
Oh, yeah.
You saw it all.
They try to make him look fast at a couple points, but yeah, they zoom out so far where he just looks slow as fuck.
I don't even know. This film, okay, I want to say straight off that this movie is trying to be like 21 Jump Street.
Yes.
Like, that's exactly what it's trying to go for with, like, it adapting the source material from a existing property and then trying to be kind of, like, self-aware of it and make it current and have fun with it. And I will say that I think 21 Jump Street and even the sequel do a pretty good job of that.
Yes, I agree.
And they have a lot of fun with it. Hell, that movie even made me like Channing Tatum. I like that guy. He's pretty good. Also, check out Magic Mike. Not lying, good flick.
Fuck, all right.
I'm just straight up Kyle's recommendation for the week.
Duly noted, Magic Mike.
But I haven't seen Double XL. But I'm interested in it because Daniel Glover's in it, and I do like Daniel Glover.
I don't even know what Double XL is.
It's Magic Mike the sequel, Magic Mike Double XL.
Oh, respect.
So,
I've been meaning to see Step Up 2, The Streets. So.
Are you bringing that up because Channing Tatum's in Step Up 1?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That's good. Guys, seriously, Step Up to the Streets. I actually won't get into it right now. Moving right on to Baywatch, though. I only bring up 21 Jump Street because that's exactly what they're trying to do with this film.
It is. And actually, I think that it could. I think
it's not a bad.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, it's not a bad approach.
We were just saying that it has worked in the past.
Yeah, and exactly. And I'm not going to say that this movie necessarily is bad because I think we had fun with it. We had fun.
Yeah, like I think I would.
Well, it's not a good movie. Let's put it that way.
Honestly, this movie has a lot of good qualities about it, but I just think beyond without a doubt, the worst part of the film is the writing. It's just a really poorly written film.
Exactly. Matter of fact, the love interest between Zac Efron and whatever the fuck her name is.
Exactly. You don't know any of these characters. Mitch.
She says less words than the comic relief character's girl. It's funny because I've seen interviews you watch Zac Efron and whatever the fuck her name is go around and talk about it. Matter of fact, it was a big thing on Jimmy Kimmel. They were talking about, ooh, are you seriously interested in your love interest in this movie? Like, ooh.
Is something ever a big deal on Jimmy Kimmel? I'm just curious.
All right, let's not throw Jimmy under the bus here. He doesn't deserve it.
I would send my regards to Matt Damon.
We didn't have time for you this week. So...
Sorry. Continue.
Okay, so, it was like a thing in the media where it was like, is this Is Zac Efron in real life gonna get down with whatever the fuck her name is? I can't remember.
I have a laptop computer in front of me. I can look it up for you.
Thank you, because
Her name is Alexandra Daddario.
Alexandra Daddario. Yeah, her fucking
She was in Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief. Remember
Right.
that movie? No one. She's in. Her
Squid and the Whale.
Her first role was Pretty Girl in Squid and the Whale. Shout out to Noah Baumbach, but sorry, continue. So you're basically just saying at this point that...
yeah, I'm saying that they played up, especially in the media, that her role in this was like a big deal, like her being alongside Zac Efron and Dwayne The Rock and whatever. Matter of fact, in the trailer, we barely see the other blonde girl that happens to be another lifeguard, but she ends up talking and being a part of the movie way more than this chick.
I thought she was actually kind of... I guess she's a model and actress, Kelly Rohrbach. She's I don't know, she was okay. Oh, I knew I recognized her from somewhere.
Fuck, she shows up in 2.5 Men, of course.
We got that's a new thing. We have to be a cheers and a drink anytime we get a nice 2.5 Men connection on the show, because it happens quite often. I will duly note it's Hell or High Water podcast. I recall there was the waitress from that.
Right.
She was a love interest of Charlie Sheen's in 2.5 Men.
Right.
Anyways, I knew this lady looked familiar, but I will also say that honestly, she, like, in terms of the role and the dialogue and the script she was given, she gave an entertaining performance, a lot more than
Alexandra Daddario. She was barely fucking there,
which was hyped up. The thing
was hyped as fuck.
The thing that's weird is, like, she has a lot of screen time, but you're right, she doesn't have a lot of lines, which is why I honestly think this movie is just a really badly written film, because honestly the pacing is fine, it's entertaining, it's it's well executed, the direction's fine, it really puts you into like a beach setting. Have you ever seen
fucking Hannibal Buress, by the way, is in this movie, and he
terrible.
talks more than Alexandra Daddario, who's supposedly a lead.
I kind of thought this was like a sad moment for Hannibal Buress in this film. He was so bad in this movie, I thought.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
And I don't know if it was just our cinema we were in, but like the sound on a lot of the dialogue track was muffled or like lower than like the music
I noticed
track.
it heavily early on. I probably
it may have got better. Some may have fixed it. I have no idea.
I might have just adjusted to it as we watched the movie.
But I only bring that up because at the beginning of the film we get a lot of Hannibal Buress talking, and a lot of his I guess a lot of his dialogue is there, and I cannot really make out more than 3 words, and he was speaking. I was like, this is kind of shitty.
Okay, well, I want to do a quick plot overview.
All right, good luck.
just vaguely. Essentially, and part of this comes to light in an interview I came across with Zac Efron and Alexandra Daddario pushing the film. But anyways, essentially, Zac Efron plays a character who's a failed Olympic athlete. He almost who's that Olympic athlete that's like really...
Michael Phelps?
Not Phelps. There's that other guy who in the most recent Olympics like did something at a gas station.
Oh shit, I forget. I know you're talking about, but yeah.
Anyways, kind of follows his career almost.
I will say that the best line in this film is as Efron's like B-reel of him as like an Olympic athlete, and he says, "I'm 80% trill, 20% dope."
Yeah,
it's fucking
30% dope.
80 plus 20 is 100.
No, but that's part of the gag. He
said 30?
He said 30.
Oh, fucking brilliant. It's classic Efron.
It's good.
That was the best part of the movie, baby.
That was the best part of the movie, yeah. As he throws up in the pool. Anyways, so Zac Efron, he's a successful Olympic athlete with 2 gold medals, but he embarrasses himself and loses all his sponsors. He's now broke and on parole, and he attempts to join the Baywatch lifeguard crew, basically to meet his parole needs.
Because that makes the most sense.
And get some money.
That makes the most sense. I mean, an Olympic athlete has gone under hard times, and the best way to get out of parole or meet his parole duties is to become a lifeguard.
But so how they talk? So apparently, Zac Efron said this in an interview that he was talking with one of the writers or the directors, and apparently his character was supposed to be a failed cop joining the Baywatch crew or applying for the Baywatch crew.
Okay.
But they thought it would be funnier if he was a failed Olympic athlete.
So they realized that they were being too much like 21 Jump Street and needed to change a character development plot.
Yeah, quite honestly.
Wow. Okay, well, fair enough. Like, the thing is the setup is goofy. And I was telling you this as we were leaving, like, the first half of the film is really goofy, and it's one of these things I really like in some comedies that we've seen recently, and it's also in another film you've commented on called Fist Fight, where the entire world of the film is just fucking nonsensical, and it's
so not real that it's fun.
It's in reality, but it makes no sense, and it's fun. And Fist Fight is by no means a perfect film, but it does that pretty well, in my opinion, and I will stand by that. And I thought Baywatch was doing that for a long time too, mainly because I was thinking to myself, like, these are just fucking lifeguards, and all the things that they're doing are just incredibly overbearing and are so silly and so unnecessary. And I was like, fuck it, why not? I'm gonna have fun with this shit. So far, I liked the Olympian bit. I thought that was funny. And then come maybe the hour mark, 45-minute mark, they start to make these really self-referential jokes about don't you realize the words that are coming out of your mouth? You're just a lifeguard. Nothing you're saying makes sense.
They say that shit way fucking too much.
They drive that joke to the ground, and the issue is in theory, that's actually a pretty funny setup.
And they try to make it to the point where they try to make it a plot point. Like, it becomes the whole reason that Zac Efron doesn't want to be part of the gang, part of the Baywatch group. He's still slightly an outsider. He's in the lifeguard group, but he's still an outsider because you're not a cop. You're just a lifeguard.
I don't I don't know.
Excuse me.
And the other thing about Efron in this movie is he plays the dumb guy, which is not a good Efron look.
No, I don't like that as an Efron look,
and
generally
I think,
speaking.
Can we give Zac Efron an overall TSV stamp of approval? If we is that okay? Those who are listening, we just made a stamp gesture.
Yes. It's a stamp for the Efron native.
Yeah. If I had the heart to do it, I'd put a stamp image on the screen. But I just want to point that out that we like him, but he's the dumb guy in this movie, and it's kind of disheartening.
Yeah, okay, so I want to bring another one of his movies that wasn't necessarily super successful. But, okay, in Neighbors, he plays a sort of frat bro. He still kind of plays a dumb guy, but he's witty and smart in a certain different light. And I'd think if he's going to play a dumb guy, it should be a character more related to that. Not that I necessarily love or hate the movie Neighbors, but that his dumb guy character in that movie was significantly better than this dumb guy character.
I just want to point out that Neighbors not being successful is quite the understatement. It cost $18 million and made $270.
Oh shit! Well, sorry. I guess I meant that more along the lines of it being a quality.
I was generally
film.
Curious. I was like, did anyone see that? Apparently a lot of people saw Neighbors. Actually, you know what? I thought of Neighbors as well, though, while we were watching this, because I thought to myself the same thing you're talking about. How, he's ditzy and he's kind of the pretty boy, dumb boy.
Yeah, it's funny to make the hot guy a dumb guy.
But he also has gusto to himself. He has enough prowess behind who he is, enough motivation. And in this movie's defense, they open the film up with him like that, but he kind of loses his confidence almost as the film progresses, it feels like.
Yeah.
They out him as an asshole, and then eventually that's just who he is for the rest of the movie, basically.
Yeah, and they kind of build him back up by, reinstating his loyalty to the group.
And that's the thing, is, this movie is, a group comedy, but it's a really weird group where, you're right, some of the characters, noted Alexandra Daddario barely talks.
Or barely even really fucking show up, to be honest with you. It's for whatever reason, Dwayne The Rock, who plays Mitch in this movie, excuse me, tends to pick Zac Efron, who plays Matt Brody, excuse me again, over the other girls who have been more loyal and more hardworking in the group. And it's kind of why? Why does he choose to trust Zac Efron with all the important intel and the important jobs? when the other chicks are way more involved.
You bring up a good point that we should talk about Dwayne The Rock Johnson a bit more, I think, because he's the
main lead.
He's the heart and soul of this film in a way. Like, he is really. You brought up a good point as we were leaving the theater about how he's always trying to push this idea of like a family friendly and wholesome environment in almost any film he's in, including Fast 8, which, by the way, still has my seal of approval.
Right.
That streamlines its way into this film too, though, in the way that he's trying to be really like the good guy, but also, he never makes any rational decisions. And even when he does, there's a point in this film where he kind of does, or a few times really, if you're being fucking honest, because the movie's crazy. He brushes it off and takes the high road every time, and he's very proud of himself, which I think is a good quality to have. But the rest of the film is this kind of awkward, almost not really raunchy, but really absurd comedy, and having those really family values put into that
makes it way less funny.
You're right. That's exactly it.
Because there's no contrast.
It's the kind of thing where it doesn't clash a lot to me, but it at the same time is very noticeable. And because of that, you're right, it's just not funny.
And that's the thing is, like, the last movie I can think of that Dwayne The Rock Johnson wasn't fucking pushing his, like, positivity, happy, family-friendly agenda in, which is totally fine. I'm cool with that he's that guy. That's okay with me. It's a good quality to have. But the last movie was when he was that fucking weightlifter dude.
Oh, Gain in Pain.
Gain in Pain.
That's a great film.
That's the last movie I can think of where he gave like an honest performance that wasn't pushing his own agenda.
That might honestly be Michael Bay's best film.
I didn't realize Michael Bay directed that.
Yeah, it's a great movie because it
is a good movie.
It's just so open about what it is. And I guess that's kind of also what Baywatch is trying to do. It's trying to be very open that it's based off a campy, cheesy TV series. Did you ever see Baywatch? Like the TV series?
Yeah, a few episodes back in the day. Mostly reruns, actually.
It's a drama, I guess, beach drama with ridiculous slow motion scenes. And it's the kind of thing that's been like lampooned for years. And I will, again, give them credit that they waited long enough for like any kind of parodies to end before they made their own Baywatch film. Because
people would make jokes about the slow-mo running on the beach.
It would be in a lot of like Mad TV sketches or even Saturday Night Live sketches.
Fuck, you can even think of like 5-10 years ago, you would still find jokes like that in movies.
Yeah, exactly. And they took their time to say, okay, well, now it's time we reboot this, I guess.
Matter of fact, there might even be a joke in 21 Jump Street about that shit.
There very well could be, and I don't think that's even not a possibility. In fact, you're probably right. The thing is they don't really how do I put this? They don't necessarily take what they have and go into a different direction. Instead, they stick in one spot and they work with what they have. What they have, though, I just need to reiterate this, is a really poorly written script, and the film is unfortunately trying its best to like thrive and push characters forward. Sure, maybe all the jokes don't land all the time. Maybe not everything is necessarily funny to myself, but there's decent action set pieces and decent comedy set pieces.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like the dialogue between characters is just so fucking like boring and
out of place and doesn't make sense. There's a scene where Zac Efron says, what does that word say? And Dwayne Johnson says the morgue, and he goes, exactly, the morgue.
Like, what does that mean?
What kind of fucking dialogue? Like, is that supposed to be funny in some way? It's so not. So I totally agree. I think the major issue with this movie is the script, and I almost think that Dwayne and Zach and maybe a couple other leads in this movie knew that the script was lacking in some way, and they all compensated for it in their different ways. I feel like Zach took to the more ditzy approach in a like last effort attempt to save the movie with some dumb humor, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson was like, let's push positivity in the last resort attempt to save this movie. And then fucking Alexandra Daddario was like, fuck it, I'm not going to say anything.
She just smiles. It's so strange. The thing is it's always hard to tell about how much an actor is actually ad-libbing and giving to the script.
Or how much an involvement they had. But I mean, just based on Zac Efron's interview and that comment he made about talking with the director and changing the entire focus of the character.
So you
to me, it seems like maybe
he had a hand in it for sure.
He had a hand,
and I will say that the guys who wrote this are Mark Swift and Damian Shannon, and the last big thing they wrote was Freddy vs. Jason. So all of a sudden, a lot of things are making sense to me.
Right.
And the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th, again, a terrible fucking movie. I don't know. I think Baywatch, it's kind of sad because it kind of showed promise, and I was generally excited to see it. And I will also say that I walked out of it feeling like I had a fun time. But I think the movie actually could have escalated a little bit further and been a 21 Jump Street kind of experience if it had a better script. I really do think that.
Yeah, 100%.
And because it used the self-referential humor and knowing that it's based off another IP in a pretty good way. But at the end of the day, it just had nothing substantial to stand on. And I got to point out this boy, Seth Gordon, the guy who directed this. He directed a really good documentary called The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, which I highly recommend. It was on Netflix a while ago. I'm not sure if it is anymore. But it's a really good documentary about Donkey Kong competitive players. And then he also made Horrible Bosses and Freakonomics and, Identity Thief. But we won't talk about that too much.
There's a couple others.
The guy can direct good comedies is what I'm trying to get at. And he can also direct good, engaging stories with engaging characters. So I think if he had a better script, I think he would have been able to. Promote that or push that towards the screen.
I totally agree, and I think this comes down to, in a lot of cases, movies. Well, it's a huge collaborative effort, right? If the script isn't there, if the direction from the director isn't there, if the actors aren't there, if all these pieces are not in place, you're going to end up with a subpar movie. And I'd say a lot of the pieces were in line. The one that fell short was the script. And everyone else tried to compensate for it. I'm sure that the director was trying to figure out to make it work somehow. I'm sure the actors were trying to fill in and do their best. And I think it did just come down to the script. That's what lacked.
I think it might also be that they didn't know how to work the humor in, because they kind of took this B-movie approach where things are a little bit off kilter and a little bit egregious, and things are just kind of wacky and don't make sense, which can work in a lot of films. I mean, there's a lot of examples of B-movies out there that make it work. But the thing is the jokes they put in this movie don't work. And I need to point out fucking John Bass in this movie, who's the comic relief.
Yeah.
Who I honestly fucking hated from the moment he was on screen.
No, he was not funny
He was like a worse version of Josh Gad.
Yes.
A much worse version of Josh Gad. And I was not into it one bit, and he's just a fat Cole Sprouse as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not into him, and I fat-shamed him. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at with that. Thoughts?
He was completely not funny. Hannibal Buress was alongside him for a second, and it was very easy to see that that Hannibal Buress giving a bad performance was much funnier than Mr. Bass giving any performance.
I mean, he has this weird, I guess, relationship with one of the lifeguards in the film, the model we were talking about earlier.
He has a crush on one of the Baywatch team, so he basically
That's why he wants to be on the Baywatch team, and it's such a by-the-numbers idea that I was, from the get-go, certain would take a different direction. Spoilers, it doesn't, and it was kind of fucking dumb.
Yeah, if you expect it to take a direction with Mr. Bass, it does.
And the thing is this movie near the end tries to pay even more homage to the source material and include highly notable actors from the original material. And almost in an offensive way, because they give one actor in particular no lines.
Yeah, do you know what I realized, actually? I think in one of the trailers for this movie, there's a scene of Hasselhoff on the beach in red shorts.
So they cut that potentially.
And that never shows up in the movie.
Oh, no.
And
I kind of liked Hasselhoff's bit in this film. I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest.
Yeah, Hasselhoff's bit was just fine. I thought Hasselhoff was good.
And I will also say that the fucking credits at the beginning of the film already spoil that Hasselhoff and Anderson would be in the movie.
Oh, shit.
And that kind of bummed me out, because I thought that. And I honestly was pretty sure they'd be in the movie, because they are the kind of actors that will be in anything, especially a Baywatch reboot. So fuck it. Of course they were going to show up. But I don't know. It was a bit of a
They could have kept it a little bit more classy with credits at the end,
I don't know. So let's wrap this shit up. I think we've talked about Baywatch a little bit too long. What are you going to give us out of 5, Daniel?
Out of 5, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Respectable 50%. I'm into that. I'm gonna
I don't know. Fuck, I want to say 2.5, but I'm also kind of I'll stick with 2.5.
2.5, like the men. I'm gonna go straight with a 2 out of 5.
2 to 5.
I just, I said it, I think, fairly well while we were about to wrap up the film. And I said, this is the kind of movie you watch while you're at the lake for a weekend around like 2 p.m. The sun's still out. You might be hungover from the night before. You're just chilling on the couch.
And then you go for a swim afterwards.
You go for a swim afterwards because you enjoyed Baywatch enough. And I think that's all I can really say about this movie.
It's true. It's I think that's a great way to end it. But I think a good thing to just note on this movie is it's nice that we were able to pick out something that was very noticeably wrong with it. It does make it easier to dissect other movies too. So the script was noticeably the direction, or a direction that was taken inappropriately. And
I will also say, as much as this movie had good parts and also not so good parts, it did not seem nearly as bad as some of the other shit that was previewed before this film that I know we're going to have to review soon.
Unfortunately, you can look forward to a number of shitty movies.
There's a lot of bad stuff coming out.
Off the cuff.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, follow on SoundCloud. That is soundcloud.com/secondviewing. And if you search the Second Viewing on YouTube, you can find us there as well. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. That's the Second Viewing on iTunes. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. A lot of different RSS feeds as well. Oh, and we're also on Google Play Music, is that what it's called?
Yes, Google Play Music.
Yeah, so you can search us there. And so just keep posted for new episodes coming out. Yeah. Off the Cups come every Monday, and podcasts come every second Friday, so stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching.